Hello, kindred spirits. Welcome back. Another Sunday together. And if this is your first visit, welcome. In today's episode, I'm going to do a little foraging, walk around the gardens, and I'm going to start prepping some items for fall decor. And then for those who are interested, we're going to go to the office, and I'm just going to give you a little insight on the fall and Halloween boxes. I hope you enjoy. I'm multitasking. I have herbs in one hand. I just grabbed some basil and I realized I had to dump my cart of some weeds. And I'm walking back and I couldn't help but notice when I was looking down at the droplets of water stuck on the leaves of the strawberry plant. How perfect is that? That's beautiful. I think it is, at least. Well, it is a beautiful pre-fall morning. It's nice and cool, actually. I have my coat on. But just enjoying a little moment outside before I go into the office. A few more days of that. Garden, I'm about ready to start cleaning up just because I think it's almost at its peak. I'm tempted to bring in the rest of the tomatoes. We have some really beautiful ones in here, but they're taking their time turning. I've got one in here, it's just starting to turn, but I don't know if I showed it already or will be in a while. They're doing better inside, so I'm gonna bring those in. And I do have more cucumbers growing, and I think I only see one that has started up higher on the vine. So my little experiment, there's only one up here, and that's gonna get kind of heavy on the vine. But it was pretty, so I enjoyed doing that. But I do have more cucumbers coming in here at lower levels, so we'll have a couple more before the season's over. I'm not sure if I'm going to ask for help for some cleanup this year or not, but it doesn't look like it's going to be too much work. Now that we can fit the gator within the fence or inside the garden wall, it will be a lot easier to get things out. But we have some of the flowers are still producing, but very few. I did see the mums are out at a lot of the stores, so I might grab some mums to place around the yard, especially the garden bench. I still haven't cut the sumac. I'll get out there at one point. Willow's out there checking out where there was a baby bunny earlier. So yeah, it's beautiful out. The maple trees are starting to turn. You can see just the tinge. There's some full-blown trees, full-blown foliage. It's beautiful. I think it is turning a little sooner, like I mentioned, I think a week or two ago. But I'm gonna head in, make myself some breakfast and make something for Ben before I head out. He's got a long day. Willow is actually coming to work with me today, so I have to make sure she has her lunch too and make my lunch. The wisteria likes its little temporary climbing thing here. The thyme is doing really well in this container, and the orange mint, I keep cutting this and drying it, and look who decided to show up a little late this year. It's the only one though. And I don't know why I didn't put it in my lemon box, but oh my gosh, this smells so good. I wish I could, here. Yeah, no, that smells really good. I gotta bring some more of that in because I love using this with chicken. So that has to be harvested a little bit and hung to dry. And I've been leaving the sunflowers. The goldfinch have been really enjoying these. So hopefully some of this will self-seed next year. If not, I'll plant some of my own because I love looking out the window and seeing their beautiful color. Oh, and a little hummingbird's waiting for me to leave. I like to get these starch peanuts that are natural and you can just melt them down in water. But this is for some of our boxes that are going out. Oh boy, getting this back to my office is going to be interesting. Thank you to the kindred spirits who have supported our online store, and I want to let you know how grateful I am. In addition to our weekly orders, these 2 boxes are part of the now 14 New England-inspired curated black boxes sold since 2022. I couldn't have done this without you. These black boxes have become a signature for New England Fine Living boxes that go out, and we take great pride, great care in sending these packages to our kindred spirits, and I cannot wait to share more with you. Speaking of share, my daughter brought me this broom because it was so hard to clean up this crinkle paper, and it's actually for fur. I use it for crinkle paper. Well, we are getting close to the fall boxes being shipped out, and this Sunday, actually tonight if you're watching this on Sunday, I'm releasing the fall box at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I am pleased to announce that I've finally filled all the boxes. I have them stacked over here, and we have a whole wall of them stacked over here. So this is what's going out for fall. And I'm just gonna make a scoot around here. I'm trying to make sure I don't give away some of the items that are in some of the other boxes. So these are ready to go out. And then we are working on the Halloween boxes tomorrow, which right now it is Wednesday. My daughter is coming tomorrow, Thursday, and we're going to be putting the Halloween boxes together. And I already started grouping some items so that hopefully we can move this along a little quicker than the fall box did. Each time we do one, we're learning a little bit other ways of doing things, but I do realize I have to unfortunately open everything and count them as they come in, because here we are right before the fall box goes out. I have 5 boxes that are missing an item. The vendor forgot to put them in, so I'm waiting for 5 items, and they said I'll have them in time, so I'm sure they'll get them here, no problem. But the Halloween box, Sunday, if you're watching this on Sunday, tonight, September 1st, 7 p.m., we will be launching a limited quantity of the Halloween box. And just a little sneak peek, I put a spell on you, now you're mine. So this is one of the boxes I put together just to make sure everything fit in that particular box. I had to do Halloween. I just had to do Halloween. I love it, and it was so fun to pull together. I cannot wait until these go out and then are going to be used, hopefully, in the homes of the recipients. But right now it is 4 o'clock, just a little after. I'm going to head over to the farmer's market and then to the gym, or the reverse, because I'm afraid I might find some fresh fish or meat, but I have to make sure what time that they close. So if they close earlier, I'll just go to the market and then I'll do the gym early in the morning, because this girl is tired and I am ready to head home, and this mess will have to deal with itself another day, but all's good. Well, by the time I got to the market, almost everybody had left because I decided to go to the gym first. But luckily, the things that I wanted to get, the vendors were still there. So I picked up some sunflower bread. I picked up a country bread. And I did get 2 fresh swordfish steaks. I grabbed a pumpkin. I got a sugar pumpkin. And I also grabbed some tomatoes. I forgot to bring those out. All of my tomatoes are still green except for these 3. These were bright green just, I don't know, about 5 days ago. And now they're turning red, but they're still a little hard. So I wanted to have some nice soft tomatoes tonight for dinner. and I have to pick the rest of the tomatoes because I want to make sure, it's weird it's not showing them properly here with the lighting, but I want to get the rest because I'm afraid that if I wait until they turn red on the vine, either a critter will get them or who knows, we could have some really cold nights. I think I just prefer to start to get them to turn inside. They ripen just fine in the house. I ended up taking out the swordfish to show you how they shrink wrap it, and they are fresh. And I am going to get these ready to go on the grill. And I like to just do a really light mayonnaise basting on both sides, and then it goes on the grill just like that, and it comes out delicious. I just brought a very large bunch of bee balm into the house, and I'm going to cut it and I'm going to hang it to dry, and I'm going to get more. This smells so good. It's hard to explain. And I've been making a potpourri since last year, and some of it had the bee balm in and some didn't. I didn't realize how much the bee balm was adding to the scent of the potpourri. So I'm going to collect and harvest as much as I can because last year I missed out. I let it go too long and it got wet and moldy. So I'm already one step ahead over last year, but I have a lot more to go. You know, fall is on its way when the colors start to change little by little outside. But another way you know fall is arriving is when candy corn things show up on the market. Now, my daughter brought this to me the other day. She does not like candy corns, but she knows I do, and I also love white chocolate. So I cannot wait to try this. I am getting ready to slice some apples, and I'm going to dry them. I think I'm going to use the dehydrator today versus the oven, just because I really want to make sure I can leave this on and get them extra dehydrated. With the oven, sometimes I want to shut it off after a certain time if I'm going to be heading out or something. So what I'm making these for is a cornstalk garland. I made one a few years back, actually more than a few years now. I'm gonna see if I can find the link. I'm gonna dry the apples. I have some other things to go in between as somewhat beads. And then I'm going to, well, this one has a soft spot, darn it. I got this one a while ago. Well, that won't work. So I'm going to dry everything first, and then maybe next week I'll put the garland together, but I'm going to show you today what I'm doing with the corn stalks, or not corn stalks, the corn husk actually, and just get ready for that garland. So now I'm just going to slice these nice and thin, put them on here, and let it sit for 24, 48 hours, however long it is, to get these nice and dry. I went to our local grocery store to hopefully find Macintosh apples. They're not out yet, so I got these. I don't even know what they are. I took the stickers off already. I'm hoping they dry just as nice, but they're not going to be evenly spaced because the Macintosh is nice and round and they're pretty much the same diameter. These kind of go down, so I will deal with that. So I'm just going to, like I said, make these nice and thin, and sometimes I always have trouble making them the same width as I go around. So I'm going to try to be extra careful with that, because you also want them to dry. Well, that has a very different center. Oh, that's probably part of the stem. You want them to dry at the same time as well. This one might be too thin because I don't want them to curl up either. But curling a little bit will be good because it will fill up that garland. So I'm just making them about that big. Oh, I wanted to show you something else. Let me just walk off for a minute. I went in the loft and I got my Thanksgiving bag of dried apples and dried oranges that I use on the Thanksgiving tree, just so I could show you what I wanted to do with the corn husks. Plan is, and I know this is not new, this is not rocket science, but the plan is to get some nice apple slices so I can use it in the garland with my whatever I use for beads, and I'm going to try using a little drill on my acorns and things like that. So this should be a fun little project, and I'll probably make it for, I could do it for the kitchen, but I think that gets so hot I should probably use a complete faux garland. I don't know yet, we'll see. Maybe I'll just make it for over the kitchen window. And if you haven't seen this in the past, it's a pine cone piece. I put rice in the bottom of my bag when I store it. Helps keep moisture from getting inside the bag. It actually wicks it away. So that's my little tip if you don't do that already. This is also difficult with the smaller end because it wants to not roll properly. And I don't have a mandolin. Do I have a mandolin? No, I don't. Maybe my daughter gave me one and I'm not remembering it. She might have, now that I'm thinking about it. But I'll do this old school. I'm just gonna keep turning it a little bit here. Once again, definitely making them so they're not straight. And I think I'm gonna do these just a little bit thicker. It will take more time for them to dry out, but I don't want them to be too curled up because I want them to show on with the outer edge of the husks. Note to self, looking for a mandolin while I'm out thrifting, but what I ended up getting is my little serrated knife, just so it doesn't slip as easily while I'm doing these small ends. That's part. I will be cutting up all these little scraps and making myself a little snack. And honestly, I prefer using the oven, and the house smells so much better doing it that way. But like I mentioned, if we want to go out tonight, I don't like leaving the house with the oven going, and this way I'm more comfortable leaving this going while we're out of the home. I wanted to show you the bee balm here. Now, yes, I grabbed it, brought it right in. There could be some little visitors here, but I'm not worried about it, I don't think. But I'm going to be cutting these to hang, and I have an idea I was thinking of doing, but I'll have to figure that out first. But I've been making potpourri, and I have a batch that has bee balm in it from last year, and I kept trying to recreate the scent without the bee balm. I didn't realize that this has such a unique scent to it that I need to make sure this is in the batch that I'm creating. And I can't just say it smells like bee balm because it's hard to describe, but it's a beautiful, sweet, almost hay smelling scent, but it's just a really nice earthy. I don't want to say earthy either because it's not like mud or something like that. It's just a really beautiful, natural scent. Whenever I walk in the kitchen, I can smell these now. And I've only had this batch in the house for 2 days, and this is the one that I just carried in. But what I want to do, and what I'm thinking of doing, is putting a wire or a rod over each of these 2 end windows, and then I can hang these herbs, and it will kind of look like a window treatment, possibly. I'm gonna see if I like that. I might sketch it out first. I do have 2 beautiful window treatments that would look so good here. It has the color of Queen Bess. It was from one of my model home projects that I did, but I can't find the fabric anymore to do the other windows if I wanted to do toppers. But maybe I'll show you that a little bit later. I could probably even film myself because I haven't been able to see what they look like up because I'm alone, but I guess I could film myself holding them and then I could see it, and maybe you guys can let me know. I don't know if I'll do that today or not because this is Saturday and I'm just filming and editing and trying to get this out to you for Sunday. And over here I have the corn husks. This is just 2. Now what I like to do is, one, I love getting fresh corn, but if you ask at the farmer's market or at the market you're getting this, a lot of times people will pre-husk their corn before they take it home, and there's usually big bags or big bins. I ask if I can grab a bag full or more when I'm doing this project because it makes it so much easier, and that way I don't have to buy corn if I just want to make a project. So you could just go and say, can I have some of the husks? And I do ask because a lot of people will use this to feed their animals. So ask first before just taking. And I do save the bottom of the corn cob. Where'd that go? So that I can put the string through, tie it, and then that way I don't lose the husk on the other end. So in a while I'm going to get my needle and some thread. So I'm going to do that in a minute, I think. Just sit here, listen to some music, and then kind of accordion it on a string and just hang it to dry. While I'm here, I guess I'll show you some of the things, or at least this that I'm gathering. I have some rhododendron leaves that have fallen and curled up, and this is going to be part of my fill for the potpourri. They're already dry, but I am going to put them in the oven a little bit more just for a final drying, and then spread them out and take off any icky ones. And I've got to collect quite a few more. And it's funny, the ones that are all curled up nice like this are outside my office, and here at my house none of them have dropped. So I'm going to go back to the office and get quite a few more so that I will have a lot of what I'm calling fill. Well, I decided to use the linen thread that I had. It's so strong and sturdy, and I didn't think I had a needle that would be big enough to take the thread, but I do. So I'm going to use this just to get started, and I'm going to this is going to be plenty, because this is not going to make a lot of accordion. I have to go get some more corn, and I am going to be getting more. I was just talking with Carla today about cooking and then freezing corn for the winter, and I'm looking forward to doing that. So I'm just taking the end of the cob, and it's very soft, and I'm going to put it on the end of this string and just tie it on. That way, while I'm threading this on, it's just not coming off the other end, and it's kind of a neat end once I do this again, when I make the actual garland and know how long I have it, makes kind of a fun end to hang them. So once again, I'm just doing this. There. And I'm gonna have to find that old video, like I said, where I made it the first time. I saw something very similar at like one of the big box stores. It was either Michael's or I forget which. But I then decided to create my own, and I think I accordioned it and then stapled it to dry. I didn't need to do that. So I'm just going to take this and do it back and forth like an accordion. And then I'm going to go through the piece that has the smallest, just so I know I get that. And a lot of these will break over time and split, but at least it's a good start. And then I'm just going to thread that on like that. Easy peasy. And like I said, you can just go down to the market and ask them for some of these if you're not buying a lot of corn. And I do want to try to make them the same width, just so that it doesn't have some really big chunky pieces. And you can make them as big or as wide as you'd like. And the less perfect it is, the better it will look. So once again, I have my little end here, and that's where I'm going to make sure I put my needle through just to catch it.
So while trying to find the old video to link for you, I watched it and noted that I said I wish I put the apples in while making the garland, because I did have to take it apart. I was concerned things would get moist. I'm going to try putting the apples in the garland as I'm making it with some of the other items. So I'll work on this probably next week once the apples are all cured and I have everything else together. But this is the one I previously made, and some of them were stapled, some were put on the thread with the accordion. I will link the old video below, but I'm going to do this one a little different.
You can use acorn caps, you can use wooden beads, you can use sparkly beads. I have some ideas, but this year I'm going to add a little bit more, I'm going to say for lack of better words, a little more glam to my rustic elegant decor here at Sugarwood. I miss kind of my glitter and my sequins and my sparkle, but not too much for this house. It doesn't seem to like it. And I'm making sure I have just a single width. Oh, before I forget, if you're interested in our Halloween box, I know Halloween is not for everybody. So this one was made specifically for those who like Halloween. And then we also have the fall box, which has sold out for those who don't like Halloween. But that is going live at 7, and I do have limited quantities of those. So if they're gone, they're gone. But I do have extra items. So once the boxes have sold, once they're shipped out, and once I know that they're at the purchaser's home, or most of them are, then I will release some items that are in that box. I don't have enough to make a lot of boxes, but I have enough that will have some really fun Halloween things. And I'm excited to show you one of the items my daughter made just for this box. It's a piece of jewelry. So if you see somebody wearing what you're gonna have, and I'm gonna show this in a future video, you will know it's a kindred spirit. We're gonna slowly start doing some things like that. It's interesting that I was watching one of my past videos on the drying shed that I did in Groton. My glasses keep falling, they need to be adjusted. I walked into a tree and it caught them. So I was watching the drying shed video, and I think I reshared it the other day, realizing that our sheds here things do not like to dry. There's so much moisture in the air and coming from the ground. So I am having to find places in the house to do some of my drying. I do have the loft, but it's just a little bit, it's just a pain in the butt to go up there. Last year I bought some hanging drying racks, never used them. I even purchased a flower press last year. Haven't used that yet either. But at least I'll have it for when I'm ready to do so. I don't know about you, but this fall I'm a little bit more excited for fall, I think, than I have been in years past. And it could be that since we've been here, there was just so much going on at the house. And I think last fall, we didn't have contractors here, but I was burnt out from contractors. We were, 2 years of nonstop construction, and it's been really nice having some downtime here at the house. And I'm looking forward to decorating for Halloween, decorating for fall. We are going to be hosting our early Thanksgiving again, because with everybody going so many different directions, I first mentioned, I'm going to do it again, and our kids were very happy because it's so fun when all the kids can get together with this blended family of ours, and this way we'll be able to do that. Now we're getting down to the small pieces, but you can see where I'm going with this. And these darker pieces will dry a little darker, but you need a lot if you want to have a nice long garland. So I definitely have to get more husks or buy a lot more corn, buy my freezer bags, and get ready to enjoy corn through the winter. I could even make it for our early Thanksgiving, and then I'll have enough to make this long garland. I'm hungry.